Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. To follow us on Instagram, go to No Name Music Cast Podcast. To send us an email, it's nonamemusiccast@gmail.com. And to visit our website, go to nonamemusiccast.com. Now, on with the show. Hello and welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Name Music Cast. My name's Tim, and this is
Joy.
And here we are feverishly recording away. We had some unexpected time away from podcasting, so we're building up a bank of episodes. So this is the first of our records that we're going to do over the next few weeks. So we're getting back into the swing of the No Name Music Cast.
And Joy remembers now when it's her episode and when it's Tim's episode. It only took 3 episodes for that to work again.
Well, I mean...
What you guys don't know won't hurt you. Joy, are you ready? No. May have happened in the recent past. All right. Well, Tim, I will start it off, and then I'll let you give yours, and then we'll come back to me. But what I was going to say is I gave Tim this very weird thing I learned about today. And to be fair, I don't know any of these musicians either, but I was doing this thing where I Googled music news because I have a podcast and need to know what's going on in the world. And I always end up on the Rolling Stone website whenever that happens because they have that whole music news section, And I found out there's this thing, it's called the Abbey Road Music Photography, voting competition that has every year. Did you know this was a thing, Tim?
No, I've never heard of it until today.
Neither had I. But apparently they reopened their submissions, and they have a bunch of different categories. And for what I gathered is it's like the year before you're voting on iconic moments, I think is what this one's called. And then they've got one that's on the road. But right now there is a music moment of the year. That's what me and Tim just voted on. So just out of curiosity, I pulled it up and started reading through this. And I will say, I do know who some of these artists are. They're not artists I listen to regularly, besides maybe one on this list. But there's 5 photos. So each photo, so the first one was Lana Del Rey riding on the back of a motorcycle guy during a photo pit at Coachella. And then the next one is Burna Boy's. And basically this was in London Stadium. It says it's something about the rise of Afro beats in London. If you know who that is, wonderful for you. I do not. This one I do know. This is Chappell Rowan at Lollapalooza in 2024 in Chicago, and it's pretty. The artist gave it a really nice kind of thing at the bottom. He was saying that he thought it was really cool because he got all of the background of Chicago, you see it to in the background of her performing, and she is dressed like a WWE star. I don't know why, but.
Okay.
And then the next one is Pulp, the band. It's Jarvis Cocker, and it looks like he got it just at the right time, so you get the beautiful background. The light looks like it's coming off of him, so on and so forth. And then the last one is an artist I know, but I will say when I first glanced at this, I thought it was Lady Gaga for some reason. It's not. It's Charlie XCX and her Brat tour at the O2 Arena. And that was actually it's rain's coming down on her. She's singing. That was the picture I picked. So my question for Tim is, which picture did you pick?
Well, I wanted to pick someone I'd heard of. The first, I didn't know who the first one and the last one were. And I had to look at the bit at the bottom to see who they were. I'd heard of both those people, but I didn't recognize what they looked like. Yeah. I've never heard of Burna Boy. I've never heard of Chappell Rowan. And the only one I'd heard of is Jarvis Cocker, and I thought that was kind of a cool picture, so that's the one I picked.
It is actually really cool. It's at Brooklyn Kings Theater, and it said it was the first 4 of sold-out dates. And the way the lighting is hitting him is really cool. He's looking up, his fists in the air. You get a really cool large-scale picture of how beautiful this wherever they're performing is. I've never been to Brooklyn's King Theater. Have you, Tim?
No, I mean, the only place I've ever been in sort of New York City, Brooklyn area is probably a Broadway theater.
Same. But I mean, this is beautiful wherever it is. The inside of it's gorgeous. But yeah, if this is something that interests you and you want to vote, I'm going to follow back and see who wins and let everybody know. So just Google Abbey Roads music photography. It comes right up. And I was like, I had no idea that music photography was this competitive, Tim, and there was like an award for it.
No, I mean, but people love art. Love photography and the juxtaposition of art and photography. And, off every concert you go to, you always see a photographer at work. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, just interesting rabbit hole, and I'll be curious to see which one. They are all, even if you don't know who they are, I think we could both agree, Tim, they are all pretty cool photos.
Yes,
They
absolutely.
did a wonderful job. All right. So, with that being said, what would you like to tell the people about, Tim?
Okay, I have a couple of pieces of music news. The first piece of music news is about the Spotify. So, today, Spotify announced that they are officially launching lossless music on their platform. Now, what that means, if you don't know, the music that is delivered to you on Spotify is compressed. It's effectively an MP3. Well, actually, it's an Ogg Vorbis, but it's the same kind of idea where you take a large music file, you make it very small, yet you retain the quality. And a lot of music purists have said that these streaming platforms that use compressed music, it doesn't sound as good as uncompressed music. Now, you can do blind tests online. There's an NPR test, an ABX test, they call it, where you can listen with really good quality headphones and try and tell the difference. I cannot tell the difference. I think it's because I'm 50 years old and I've got rock and roll ears. But really, the difference between lossy and lossless is negligible unless you have a hi-fi system, which is absolutely absurd. And if you had a hi-fi system that's absolutely absurd, you're probably not listening to Spotify anyway. You're probably playing records or some kind of tube-driven CD player or something like that. But anyhow, this is a big thing today. However, a lot of people saying it's about 4 years too late, because if you want lossless music, you can go to Amazon, you can go to Apple, and they're already offering that. Now, they are saying that lossless will be available to all premium subscribers. So if you have a regular subscription, which is $11, $11, 11 whatever, wherever you are in the world, it will come free with that. And they're rolling it out sort of in batches. It hasn't hit my Spotify account yet, but some people already have it. And then they're working through a bunch of countries, and then it's going to go to different places, and then everyone's going to have it for this price. I'm of the opinion this is a marketing thing more than an audio thing, because
Yeah, that's what I think too.
yeah, because I had Apple Music on a trial when I was deciding what platform I wanted to get involved with. And really, in order to listen to lossless, you have to listen through headphones. Because if you listen through Bluetooth headphones, the stream is compressed anyway, so it's irrelevant. And you have to have some very specific equipment to sort of even take advantage of it. I just think it's a marketing thing, so they're sort of catching up with everybody else. Am I going to turn it on at home? Probably. Am I going to turn it on my phone when I'm in the car? Probably not. Is the file sizes are too big, and it's going to be like streaming a video, and it's going to buffer and stuff like that. It really does make the files 5 or 6 times the size. So I don't know. What are your thoughts, Joy? You on board with this lossless revolution?
I'm kind of like, I can't tell the difference anyway, so I'm okay.
Yeah, and I think that's why Spotify just haven't bothered, because the vast majority of their people who subscribe to their platform don't care. They're
I
not
just,
audiophiles. Can they hear their songs? Yes. I mean, a lot of people don't even get the premium version. They put it with ads every fourth song. So the fact that it's lossy or lossless is almost irrelevant. I mean,
yeah,
my wife loves music. She loves the things that she likes to listen to, but she's no audiophile. I mean,
no.
she just listens to it because she likes it. She's not listening to the nuances of the system. I mean, I'm probably a mid-fi sort of person where my equipment isn't super high quality, but it isn't super cheap. It's somewhere in the middle. And I've got a
That's
couple
where
of
I am too.
yeah, and I've got a couple of really nice pairs of headphones, but I'm probably not going to hear any difference with this.
I also just generally don't really care. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I just don't care. And like my husband, for example, you guys would be surprised to know this. Charlie probably listens to music more than I do. He's always listening to music, always with headphones listening to music, but he's listening to the same 20 songs on repeat generally. So he's not exactly, give or take, like he'll stretch outside of that comfort zone, but he's very much in his comfort zone with his music. And mostly I think he listens to music because he has ADHD. And so like when he's doing other things, the music helps keep him on track. So weirdly enough, that I don't think I don't know anybody personally that would be very excited about this. I do tend to do that thing where you go down rabbit holes on YouTube and learn about, like, Phil Reese just sent me a thing the other day where the guy was breaking down all the different instruments and segments used in Superstition by Stevie Wonder. It's got that Moog bass line and things like that that are very interesting to hear because it really sounds like a real bass, though it isn't. So I do that kind of thing, but this is not really for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. If this is, you're really into it, that's cool. I mean, I'm glad it's available, but I probably will never seek it out. All right. You said you had something else you wanted to tell them, Tim.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to talk about was this MTV Music Video Awards. Now, the MTV Music Video Awards has not been relevant for probably 25 years or something. No one's talking about the MTV Music Video Awards because MTV stopped playing music videos, so it seems really ridiculous that they would have an awards about it. But they decided to have another session of honoring Ozzy Osbourne. Now, we had this big Back to the Beginning concert that was a few months ago where all these legendary rock and metal artists honored Ozzy Osbourne, and he was there, and he played with Black Sabbath, and he played a solo set, and then sadly we lost him very shortly after that. He got to go out on a high. He got to go out with friends. He got to go out being honored and people cherishing him, which is how it should have been. But like MTV decided that they were going to do something similar at this MTV Music Video Awards. So they put this band together. Nuno Bettencourt was a musical director. Steven Tyler was involved. Joe Perry was involved. They did Crazy Train Changes and Mama, I'm Coming Home. But the person who was the main singer in this was this character called Youngblood. Now, I'd never heard of this Youngblood until the Ozzy Osbourne tribute concert. I know nothing about this Ozzy Osbourne. Where he's like I suppose he's like a super fan of Ozzy Osbourne and friend of Ozzy Osbourne, but I'd never heard.
I know he's a UK English artist. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
That's about the
I'd
extent
never,
of what I know about
heard
him.
never heard of him until the Ozzy Osbourne tribute concert. And some people, I'm not saying I agree with this, but some people say that his version of Changes that he did at that concert was like a warbling pub singer. Now, I mean, you can listen to the performance and decide whether you agree with that or not. But he fronted this tribute section, which was, as I said, musically directed by Nuno Bettencourt. And in fact, the drummer from Extreme was also as part of this backing band. I mean, he did a fine job, fine
I think it
performance.
was okay. I wouldn't go to say it was like the worst thing I've ever heard, but I wouldn't say it's the best thing.
A lot of people are saying this is so amazing, and rock's relevant again, and he's the savior. But I don't know. There's a lot of great singers out there. But I don't necessarily know that he's necessarily the best singer out there. In all honesty, I mean, he did a fine job. But one thing, once you see it, you can never unsee it. So
What's that?
MTV have done this before because I think Van Halen did some MTV Music Video Awards thing, not the classic one in the 90s that I like. It was like a later Van Halen or did it, a number of years ago. So they have like a pit at these MTV Music Video Awards, and it's full of very young people in their very early 20s, very attractive people dressed very well and attractively, who, for some reason, know all the lyrics to Ozzy Osbourne songs, think it's the best thing ever, and pumping their fists and they're singing along. Now, I'm firmly of the opinion they get these people from a casting agency and they're
Probably.
Extras. Because how
Crowds
many
on demand people.
yeah, how many large groups of people do you know who are young, attractive in their 20s, who would be so pleased to see Youngblood sing Ozzy Osbourne songs from the 70s and know all the lyrics and pump their fists and sing along?
I think it's probably a combination of some of those people are bought, mixed with a combination of some of those people binge listen to a bunch of Ozzy Osbourne because he just passed away right before the concert.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just firmly of the opinion the entire pit is just full of people who came from a casting agency to create a
Probably.
vibe.
It's probably the same people who find the seat fillers, so it never looks like it's empty, even though those are just random
I
people.
don't know, but I watched the clip a couple of times. And it's like, I clocked this like the second time round. I was like, hang on a minute. And then you look back, you just look at the demographic of the people in that audience. And it's like, this is not their music. They're not excited about this.
Weirdest artist, the weirdest audience, I think, is if you watch The Masked Singer, Tim. everybody in that audience looks absolutely like they're going bananas crazy over every little thing that happens. And if you pay attention a few times, I realize there a lot of the times they're showing the same people over and over again doing the same things.
Hmm.
Like it's like the same snippet of somebody holding this, singing along, doing this. But the audience that always stands out to me is the one on The Masked Singer. And during COVID, I wondered how they pulled it off because there was a season during COVID when none of us could go into, especially in somewhere like LA. Like me and Tim live in an area where you didn't get a full lockdown. We had like a semi lockdown, right?
Hmm.
We had to wear our masks when we went to the grocery store, but we could still go to the grocery store. Probably no major concerts happening. But whenever I watch The Masked Singer, it's kind of like what Tim's saying. First of all, I always wonder how many of them even know some of the music on there because it's like very attractive people, but they all look absolutely ridiculous. Like this is the greatest moment of their life to watch a singing teddy bear do Baby Got Back. And I'm like, how is this real?
Yeah, it's not like the real Elvis came out. It's not even
No.
like, I don't know, Katy Perry came out, or I don't know, some of these
It
other
could be Katy
artists.
Perry in the bear costume. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, I could if you was listening to Bear singing something, and then the head comes off and it's Katy Perry,
You get really
I could see that
excited.
people get excited. But yes, I don't know. It just for me, it just feels so false. It doesn't seem genuine. And I know this is TV, and I know that this is not real life.
Everything's scripted in its own way. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's just I've watched that clip a couple of times, and it's like, yeah, young people, this isn't your music. You're not excited about seeing Joe Perry.
But the funny thing is, though, is every time someone passes away, at least on my social media, everybody acts like they've been listening to them nonstop for every day of their life for the last 74 years. So
Yeah,
there'd be
no,
some random artist that I hardly even know. And I'm like, so you guys all knew that person? Who is this?
yeah. I mean, I liked Ozzy Osbourne's solo
Yeah,
material. I like some of the Black Sabbath stuff. To be honest, I like the Dio era Black Sabbath probably more than the Ozzy
I
era.
agree with that.
And then like Ozzy, I mean, No More Tears is absolutely superb. That is a great album. The whole album, top to tail, is fantastic. And I like a number of his other hits from his other albums, Bark at the Moon, Crazy Train. All that stuff is great. But I mean, was I a super Ozzy Osbourne fan? No. It's just someone that you enjoyed and you
Hmm.
just liked it. But I wouldn't now come out now we sadly lost Ozzy and go he was the greatest influence ever to me because he wasn't. Because I enjoyed his music. I love the No More Tears album. I've always loved that album. Zach Wild's guitar
Hmm.
playing is superb, and the hits are great, and it's terribly sad. But yeah, I'm not one of those people who, the minute we lose somebody, we're going to go, yes, he was the greatest thing ever. And that was who I listened to for the last 4 years.
Controversially, I would say I think I preferred him with Black Sabbath more than a solo career.
Hmm.
That's just my personal like. War Pigs is great. Iron Man's great. Ever Forever or whatever that song is. After Forever, whatever it is really good. But I would say I'm a medium fan. Does that make sense, Ted? Like I know
Sure.
some of his music. If it comes on, I'll listen to it. Obviously, The Wizard. All those like good kind of early Black Sabbath songs stand out to me as good. I think that it is a band that was influential to other people too, and that almost is probably more important in the long run than the hits,
Hmm.
just in music. So that's another factor. But it is funny because I remember the day he passed away, like there was just post after post after post on my social media, and I'm like, it always, and I don't mean to judge anybody because I'm sure some of them probably were fans, but it did make me laugh because I'm sitting there thinking, I wonder how many of these people have listened to an Ozzy Osbourne song in the last year.
I mean, I will say, as we know, Brian Harold May is going to live forever. He absolutely will live forever.
That's true.
In the unlikely event that we have to lose Brian May, and he won't die because he's immortal. But if that's an incredibly unlikely event of that happening, I will be the first one to say I was his biggest fan, and I knew
Oh yeah,
all
for
of the
sure.
material, all the
Well,
Queen
that wouldn't
material,
come as
all
a
the
shock to me in
solos.
any way,
Yeah,
Tim.
all the solo material, all of the collaborations, and yes, I've been listening to that nonstop since like 1988 or something.
I mean, I would be this. There's plenty of artists we've talked on here that Tim would be like, I talked to Joy long enough to know that this would be someone she would be upset about.
Sure.
But it's just funny. I don't know, looking back, obviously one of the biggest ones for me, I've talked many times when Michael Jackson passed away, and I know he was a big one for everybody, but that was probably one of the hardest ones for me personally.
Hmm.
When he passed away, I literally, and I remember I just started watching the final concert he did that they put on the big screen. Like I was watching it on repeat, and I really got really sad when I would watch things and think I missed my only opportunity to actually see it. Like one time, I think I like tears, Tim. Like I fully cried thinking about that. So I get that there are artists that you will feel that way about. It's just interesting to see that play out. Because the other thing is, and no offense to Ozzy Osbourne, he hasn't really put out music in a very long time.
Well, he released a few albums recently.
Oh,
Um,
okay. But I mean, majors. I didn't even know that. That's how little I
yeah,
knew.
I think the problem that you have is that his catalog, his back catalog, certainly as a solo artist, is so legendary, and the hits are so strong. In in their later careers, a lot of artists will release new albums, but they never, especially now, it just doesn't have the impact that it would have, say, back in the sort of the peak main part of their career. I mean, Ordinary Man, the album Ordinary Man he released is great. I bought a copy of it. I enjoyed it.
I didn't even know it
I thought
existed.
it was really good, and in fact, he released another album after that. But it's just that if I listen to that, is it as good as Bark of the Moon? No. Is it as good as No More Tears? No. It's a fine album. It sounds great. But because nobody's buying anything anymore and everything's just playlists and nobody's really listening to
That
albums
was the
and
other thing. I think it's also just the timing of that people aren't teaching physical media. And if you're not on like YouTube and on social media producing it very well, it doesn't really reach the masses.
exactly, exactly. But there we
Of
are. I mean,
course.
it's a shame, but like that's the same for any artist, even artists that are still with us. They
Hmm.
release new music, and it's like the fans, super fans, love it. But outside of that, it's kind of just like meh, and then
I
they go back
really
to
like the one Paul McCartney did, Tim. What was the one with the really cool album cover? I can't even remember the name of it. That not that long
three,
ago.
Paul McCartney three. Yeah,
That was actually really
but
good.
that's Paul McCartney. I mean, you know,
That's true.
he yawns and it's a hit. I mean, he's a songwriting genius.
It
That
is.
three album is
And
really strong.
you could hand him like an instrument that was invented today, and somehow he'll be playing it by 4 p.m.
Oh, and
tomorrow.
he would write the best song you've ever heard on it as well.
And it'd be like like some brand new instrument Tim just invented, and then tomorrow you'll hear he wrote a whole album on that instrument.
Yeah.
Tim didn't even know how to play it, but somehow he figured it out. Prince would be the same way. It's always funny. I always think about these people, and then they'll be like, "Oh yeah, he plays this instrument and this instrument and this instrument." I'm like, "Yeah, that checks out." All right. Well, was that your last bit of music news, or was there anything else you'd like to tell the people?
No, that is all the music news I have for today.
All right, so it is my topic, and I decided I wanted to do something that gave me nostalgia for whatever reason. We haven't done this topic, so I thought it'd be fun. This is the Y2K episode.
Ah, Y2K. Now, wasn't the entire world supposed to grind to a halt on Y2K?
Yeah, but we're still grinding away over here. I mean, I was never so we'll start it by talking about our Y2K experience. My family never really bought into the hype. We did not go pick up a bunch of stuff and say we were going to be in a bunker and because they did it like say on the news months before if you weren't allowed live during Y2K and you listen to this podcast that would surprise me, but lots of people listen to it. And maybe this was an American experience and but we were told months before that they had fixed the glitch with the date, Tim, for all the computers. Like they
Yeah.
openly said it was fixed.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is you have to remember is that there were a lot of embedded systems that only had two-digit date codes that when they installed them, they thought they would be replaced by the time we got to the year 2000. Um, the thing is there was lots of IT professionals working in the background literally for
Hmm.
decades to fix this, which meant that Y2 came and went without a glitch. Now, would I have got on a commercial flight as we went from 99 to 2000? Probably not. But for the most part, everything just went fine. I was working for Nationwide Building Society at that time, which is like a credit union in the United States. And as you would imagine, they had lots of
Hmm.
systems, embedded or otherwise, that had this two-digit date thing going on. And
Yes.
they said, yeah, we've got this sorted and everything should go fine. And it did. We came in the next, day after New Year's Day. Everything worked as it should.
Fair enough. So I thought it'd be fun. So I got the top 100 singles of 2000s just to talk about the music, but I also pulled people's stories of Y2K. I thought it might be fun to kind of go back and forth so we could just talk about the experiences. And I thought this is right up your alley, Tim, before we get to the music. This guy says he was managing an IT department at a state agency and was under enormous pressure to prevent any Y2K related problems. On New Year's Day, I went to work before dawn, tested everything before the executive director even arrived, relieved that everything was working okay. So I was like, okay, we're good. I'm going to go to IHOP to celebrate breakfast, have a little breakfast celebration with everybody who works so hard on this. The IHOP bill came. The date and time said 32 December 1990. For some reason, it literally said the date was 32 December 1999. And because he wrote it like that, I have to wonder if he was in America, Tim, or if he was in the UK because of the way the date is written.
Well, if it's IHOP, the International House of Pancakes only operates in the UK and Canada.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. How do they write their dates in Canada? Do you know?
Same as US.
Oh, okay, never mind. It's just interesting he wrote it. Maybe that's just the way it was stamped on the receipt for whatever reason. But he was just like, he said that like he just his something dropped in that moment, like, and it worked out. But somebody said he still has the receipt framed on the wall. I just thought that was fun. All right, so this is a song that I'm very familiar with. I don't know how familiar Tim will be with it, but it does not surprise me. This was the #1 hit of 2000. It was everywhere. This is an artist that I have mixed feelings about. This is "Breathe" by Faith Hill.
I think I've heard this song. Now, well, I doubt if this was a hit in the UK. I'd assume this is a US hit because she would be considered, certainly at that point, she would be considered a country artist.
It's that one that's like, just breathe. You've probably heard it 1,000 times, Tim. It would definitely be playing at a CVS somewheres right now.
Absolutely. Or on your playlist. Either would work.
Not this one, because I think I got burnt out as to what it was in America in 2000. It's one of those songs. Hold on, let me read you. Because see, the thing about it is I've never been a big Faith Hill. Now, personally, her and Tim McGraw, I like them on a personal level. Like, as people, they seem to be really good people. And it's funny because we were watching a movie the other day, or Charlie had turned on a movie while we were like falling asleep, Tim. And I wasn't paying any attention to it because I don't like to watch movies that much, and it did not interest me. But out of nowhere, I heard Tim McGraw's voice because Tim McGraw and Faith Hill are married, and I was like, "That's Tim McGraw." And Charlie argued with me for 20 minutes, and he's like, "You're not even looking at him. How do you know that's Tim McGraw?" It was Tim McGraw. We ended up Googling it. I could just hear his voice and instantly knew. And I was like, how did you know that? I was like, I grew up with a mother who liked 90s country. I could hear Tim McGraw from a mile away. But that song is like, I can feel the magic floating in the air. Does that ring a bell to you at all, Tim? Being with you gets me that way. Okay, well, you escaped the 1999 Breathe situation. Okay, so this song I do know you'll know, but I'll go to another story in a minute because I want to kind of segue between it. But this is a song I love, and this is a song I think you like. The #2 hit, and this is "Smooth" by Santana featuring Rob Thomas.
Yes, now the album this comes from, Supernatural, was seen as a comeback album of sorts for Carlos Santana, where he partnered with lots of artists who were very busy and contemporary at that moment in time when the album was released. The song "Smooth" was a huge hit, and I've played that in a number of cover bands. I love
that song.
Yeah, and I've got a video floating around somewhere of me actually playing the solo for it. I posted it during the lockdown time. I must find it again and put it on my Instagram for everyone to enjoy, probably. But this is such a great song, and I will tell you today, Joy, I had a Carlos Santana fabulous thing happen.
What is that?
Well, I've decided my CD collection is getting somewhat out of hand. So I built shelves that hold about 1,100 CDs in a cupboard that I used to have, and it's completely full. And then I have an overflow. Yeah, and then I have an overflow system, which is where I take them out of the plastic boxes and put them in sleeves. And I've got these special sleeves and stuff they go into. But the problem I was finding is that there's a lot of stuff I've thrifted that's in my core collection. And I want the shelves just to be core, like all the good stuff, the stuff that I've bought at full price, the stuff that I love. And then the overflow stuff would be things I've thrifted that, if I had to trim the collection down, it wouldn't be the end of the world. So I've been going through them shelf by shelf, taking the thrifted stuff out, but of course it's left some gaps.
Yeah.
And what am I doing? I'm putting guitarist Funko Pops in those gaps.
Well, I mean,
And
that's a great use for that.
yeah, yesterday I got Mr. Slash. I have Eddie Van Halen on order, which is supposedly coming in a few days. But today, Carlos Santana arrived. And
Oh, I
Carlos
have that
Santana.
Funko.
You've got it too?
Yeah, I have a Carlos Santana Funko.
Yeah, he's got his hat, his sunglasses,
a great
he's got his
one.
mustache, he's got his guitar, probably a PRS, and he's got his super wide strap that he wears. He's got a really cool tie-dye shirt on. It's absolutely fantastic.
I mean, that I didn't even know that when I picked this topic, guys. Carlos Santana is fantastic. And ironically, I'm just going to say it. Number 3, Tim, is Maria Maria, which is also Santana featuring the product G&B, which you're familiar with too, I'm assuming.
Well, I'm familiar. The artist not so much, but yes, that song from that album, 100%.
Yeah, that is one of my favorite. The Maria Maria lives like rent free in my head. Both of these songs were probably they play regularly for me. So I am not surprised they were that popular in the 2000s. I was just surprised they were number 2 and number 3. That kind of shocked me. So back to our funny stories about Y2K because I really enjoyed reading these on Reddit and they may have been the inspiration for this episode. Was this made me laugh so hard. And so you know how when you pass away, a lot of people earlier, like my parents have already bought their headstones or how they want to handle their burial, right? So
Yeah.
in the Indiana University Cemetery, there's a headstone with the date that says 2000 with like a dash beside it, nothing underneath it, engraved on it, then crossed out. Below it is a date that says November 1999, followed by the word she was an optimist.
Oh,
She thought she was going to make it into 2000 and she died in November of 1999.
poor person. They almost.
It's kind of adorable in a really dark and morbid way. But I have to give her some credit. All right. I have no clue what this song is, and I don't know that Tim will either. So we're going to say it and we're just going to move along because I don't want to waste our time. The song number 4 is I Want to Know by the artist Joe. Doesn't even ring a bell to me. I might probably have heard it on the radio if that makes sense, Tim, but I don't know who Joe is, but good on you, Joe. You got number 4. Now, this is a band that Charlie is obsessed with. Have you heard of Vertical Horizon, Tim? Are you lost on this one? All right, we'll skip it. It's Everything You Want. Now, I do know Tim knows this band, but he probably hasn't heard the song. You've heard of the band Destiny's Child, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
The song is Say My Name.
Say my
Do you
name,
remember-
say my name.
There you
Yes,
go, found it.
I am familiar with this song. And,
This one has my
talking,
favorite video, too.
talking about Funko Pops, can I tell you, the members of Destiny's Child and the members of TLC who are not that well known, their Funko Pops are like $2 on Amazon. It must be terrible to be a member of Destiny's Child and or TLC and not be the famous one to find that your Funko Pops is discounted.
Well, I will say, so for those who don't know, in the Funko Pop world, Charlie has an extensive collection of Funkos. Tim's very aware of this, though we did sell off probably about $5,000 worth, but there's still a ton in my house. And that's not even an exaggeration. Tim can testify to this. I'm
Yep.
not exaggerating here. We have one that is from TLC where it's the waterfalls one, and they look like waterfalls. That one's worth a little bit more, but then there's like, they did a lot of them, to be honest. I think the reason they're probably so cheap is there's just so many TLC Funko Pops for whatever reason. Destiny's Child, I don't know. I'm not sure why they're so cheap.
Yeah, who are the members of Destiny's Child?
So you have Beyonce, of course. And then you have Michelle. There was a 4th member. Well, you got Kelly Rowland and Michelle Williams are the 2 that most people know. And there was Latoya was a member, and then there was like Farrah or something like that, but they kind of just got forgotten and pushed to the wayside. They were never famous. So the ones most people would know are Beyonce, Michelle. and Kelly Rowland.
Yeah, I think it was one of those ones that I saw incredibly cheap on Amazon. And I just feel for those people. They finally got their Funko and now they're heavily discounted.
Yeah, there's some like back and forth about the forgotten members. Like I think her name was like Latoya or Lativia or something like that. And then there's the Farah. And one of them is a really good singer, but for whatever reason, they just kind of like disappeared into the distance and quit. And there was supposedly, Beyonce might have been given a little bit of like the Supremes Diana Ross kind of attitude, from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Which goes kind of funny because she later played, you know what I mean? Diana Ross and Dreamgirls. So anyway, but yes, this video though, "Say My Name" is one of my favorite. Have you ever seen this music video, Tim?
If I have, I don't remember it.
It's really cool. It's very 2000, so I'm glad it's on this list. I'm glad Tim knew this song. But, it's like they're all in different like apartments, but they're all bright color. Like one's got like a red and one's got a blue, and they kind of keep flipping through it, and it looks really cool. And it's going back and forth, and then like everything in the apartment is blue. Like everything they're wearing, the couch, everything. They're talking on the phone to their boyfriend, saying, "Oh yeah, if there's no one in the room with you right now, and you're so everything's fine, why can't you say my name?" I don't know if you realize that's what the song's about, Tim. Did you know that?
I've never really given it a lot of thought.
She's like saying, "Say my name, say my name. If no one is around you, say, baby, I love you." See what she's saying? Say my name if no one's around you in the room right now. So that's why they're on the phone. And each member of Destiny's Child is on the phone in a different colored room. And it's all like very early 2000s bubble couch kind of look.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a really cool video. If you've never seen it, even if you don't care for the song, I would say go watch it. It's probably my favorite Destiny's Child music video, period.
There we are. Also, it was just now that I realized that Beyonce was in Destiny's Child.
We're going to leave that alone. I'm just going to drop that one. Tim just threw that bombshell out there. Okay. Anyway, all right. So this is a band I do know Tim knows. You've heard of the band Savage Garden before, I think?
I have, yes.
And have you heard the song "I Knew I Loved You" from Savage Garden?
I think there's another one that's like "Madly, Deeply" something. Is that Savage Garden?
Yes, that's them. But this song is basically "Madly, Deeply, I Love You" wrapped up in a different package. So this is the one that you've definitely heard it. And because they're Australian, I think. I think they're Australian.
I
Don't come from the
know.
internet, because it's the duo, but they had the "Truly Madly Deeply" is the song you're thinking of. But to be fair, let me just give you the lyrics on this, Tim. It's pretty much the same song, just in a different way. It's that I'm surprised you haven't played this one. It probably has been played at a lot of weddings. It's "I knew I loved you before I met you. I think I dreamed you into another life."
Yeah, it's not ringing a bell. Now, I will say, some of these songs that we've spoken about, and some songs that we will be speaking about, yes, I would have probably heard them. But this was prime in the era. Words are hard, Joy. It's Wednesday. Words are hard.
Cards are words.
Yeah. It was around the time when I certainly was not listening to anything brand new, anything at all.
Not much has changed.
No, I mean, I rarely come out of my comfort zone when it comes to music, though I might occasionally listen to something new, but certainly this is where it began. This is at the beginning of my journey of curating my listening. And certainly around this time, I think what was I doing? 99, 2000. Where was I living? I was living still at home at that time, or moved back home. And I think that's the time we had satellite TV, so I probably had MTV or something like that. So
I don't even know if they were showing movies. Were they showing music videos in 2000?
Yeah, they were. They were into the early 2000s. They were still showing music videos.
I was mostly just watching things like Daria at that point on MTV. But all right, well, this one you'll enjoy. So let's give it, and I will skip around and pick songs Tim will know. I still can't get past the fact that you didn't know Beyonce was a Destiny's Child, but anyway, I digress.
No, I mean, should I have known that?
So I have no idea. I guess I just assumed, because you've even talked about Destiny's Child on the podcast before.
I know, but
All right.
I didn't know the members.
Fair enough. All right. So someone says, I think my favorite story I heard about actually happened right before 2000. Basically, it's the same idea. It was someone in a northern European country who turned 105, was born in like 1890, received a letter in the mail addressed to parents of and his name. The letter was telling his parents that he was supposed to start school because he was now 5 years old. Of course, this happened because the government had used a two-digit date in the system and sent a letter to everyone with the year 90 as their birth year.
Ah,
There you go, guys. I could totally see that happening. I can see that happening.
yeah.
Anyway, and then it used to be that every 6-year-old in Iceland got a letter from traffic school with books and stuff to teach them how to cross the road and things like that. And they said that there was a slew of 106-year-olds who got them that year. I don't know how many 106-year-olds live in Iceland, but enough that people knew about it.
Well, in Iceland, they're all eating fish diets and being healthy and things like that.
Out walking around and I would say riding bikes, but no, Joy, it's not in Norway.
Well, it's more
cool.
Holland is more of the bicycle culture, especially Amsterdam.
That's true. That's true.
Norway is the place with the high electric car adoption.
Ah, that's still good for the environment, at least. Anyway, all right, back to the music. So this one Tim will know, and this is a song that I could go without ever hearing again. And a band I could go without ever hearing again. I have very big thoughts and feelings on this band. This is Creed, and the song is Can You Take Me High?
Now, I
Oh,
do own some Creed albums in my collection that were thrifted. Let me tell you, they were thrifted.
fair
And they
enough.
are soon to be taken out of the core and put in the overflow. So if they tell you anything you need to know about Creed. I mean, that song's fine.
It's okay.
They had some other good songs. Their music's all right.
I just have never their specific genre of rock has never worked for me as a person. But it's not to insult them. And then the weird back and forth about them being Christian and not Christian and so on and so forth. But what the funny story about Creed is that I've told this to Tim. My husband knows zero lyrics to any songs besides when he was younger in his room he had the classic everybody CD player, CD changer, everybody in the 90s had, right? And he would put his little CDs in and he would listen. And apparently one of the CDs he had was whatever album Hire's on.
I think it's Human Clay, I think.
Sounds like something they would come up with the name for an album. Human Clay. It's very up Creed's alley, so I'm going to take Tim's word for it. But he had it. And so one day we were just messing around singing karaoke or doing something. And I found out very quickly that one of the only bands my husband knows every lyric to is Creed because he had that album and that CD changer and he would listen to it and he would go to sleep. And back in the day when your CD would have Tim's house has plenty of CDs, but back in the day when I owned CDs, you got the lyrics in the sleeve of your CD.
Hmm.
Was that a universal thing or was that an American thing? Or did everybody get the same sleeves?
Yeah, having the lyrics in your music.
Okay.
Certainly, it came from vinyl records, but yes, certainly in
Yeah.
the CD era, yes, your booklet would have all of your lyrics, and of course on a CD they'd be printed quite small. But yes, all the lyrics were always in there. I mean, some artists didn't. At the very beginning of the CD era, when they started reissuing records and tapes on CDs, things that had never been on CD before, not a lot of care and attention was given to the books, and sometimes the little inlay you got in there was nothing. It was just like a single sheet of
Yep.
paper.
That one little piece.
Yeah, but as the format went on, yes, having the lyric book was standard.
Well, there we go. I assumed it was, but sometimes when you assume things, you're wrong, Tim. But yeah, that was a weird thing one day. I'm like, so you seriously have not ever been able to tell me the lyrics to a song I know you've heard 1,000 times, but now I'm learning out of nowhere after we've been married for 10, 15 plus years now, Tim, that he knows all the lyrics to Creep. There you go.
There we are.
And what's weird is he doesn't listen to it actively now. So I'm like, you can remember that, but you can't remember the song. I know you've listened to at least 6 times this week. Brains are weird. All right. So This one I thought would be fun because I thought Tim would find this interesting. Goes back to your yesteryears. My dad was a system analyst working for what was a major UK high street retailer based in Liverpool who had their own house EPOS,
Yeah,
EOPOS.
EPOS is electronic point of sale. Electronic point of
Oh, I've
sale.
always just said POS.
Yeah, POS, EPOS.
Okay.
It's the same thing. And for those who don't know, an EPOS system is that when you go into a store and then you go up to the counter and then they scan the barcode or type the price in and then you pay, that is your electronic point of sale system.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, I guess POS could stand for something else. So if you're writing it, it might be better to put the E in front of
Yeah.
it. I've never really thought about, but I mean, a point of sale system. Like I've worked at a grocery store before. I know like that what that is. So anyway,
Yeah.
that my dad worked on. His department learned of the Y2K issue at a conference in like '94. Kind of weird they were talking about it all the way back in '94, but I guess it makes sense. And had the system 90% compliant by 1998, but the management were very cautious. Everything was tested, retested. Dad was on call all night throughout December '99 with incredibly generous rates. The office was at the Albert Dock, and Dad was called in on New Year's Eve as a precaution. So we got to watch fireworks over Mercy from the top floor of my dad's office. Dad reckons after the extra pay that it equaled about. So he got to watch all these like cool fireworks over the dock as kids. And he was there all evening and he got 6 weeks worth of pay for being there on call that night too.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of money to be made in the year 2000 time if you did work in IT because this was a huge thing and a huge undertaking and a huge project. And yeah, I've heard the same thing where a lot of these people being on call on the Millennium evening, because this was a big thing, the Millennium coming in. It was the biggest New Year's ever, certainly for the generation that we're in.
For sure.
But the fact that you'd have to miss it and work, they had to make it worth your while.
That's cool. And he does comment back and say it was Woolworths that was the company he worked for was
Yeah,
Woolworths.
Woolworths, the retailer that sadly is no longer with us. Did you ever go to a Woolworths, Joy?
I haven't, but I've heard you talk about them, and they sound like a Kmart to me for some reason.
Yeah, Woolworths was a legendary UK retail chain. They were a little bit like Target in the US. Now,
Okay, that makes
Woolworths as
more
a
sense.
brand still exists in other parts of the world. In Australia, Woolworths is a supermarket chain. But in the original UK version of Woolworths was like Target. It was a general store. They sold clothes, they sold toys, they sold music, especially CDs, records, that sort of stuff, housewares. Some of them sold paint, DIY stuff. And what happened is, as the years went on, they sort of lost relevance, and people stopped going to Woolworths. And this was before Amazon and the stuff really took over. It's just as a retailer, they just sort of lost their relevance, and then they went bust, and everyone was really surprised that Woolworths couldn't make it. And then they basically had this huge like fire sale where they sold everything in the stores for cheap, and then they sold all the fixtures and fittings and the lights and the EPOS systems, in fact. And then Woolworths was no more, and it was never seen again.
Well, there you go. I mean, I kind of have a visual of what I imagine Woolworths to be halfway between a Kmart and a Target now. That seems to check out.
Yeah,
All right,
that sort of thing.
back to the music. I'm just going to pick one that I know Tim, and I've got a huge list here, so I'm just picking them at random now. So I know Tim knows this one. And this is another band. And there was an episode where we talked about this song, and I wondered if it was, you'll find out in a minute. It's Three Doors Down, Kryptonite.
Yes, so I'm very familiar with this song now. I was not familiar with it at the time. The
wish I
reason that
wouldn't have
I
been.
know it is because my friend Kirk Farmer, who was in the band with Dirty Rumors, who I used to co-run an open mic night at the Coffee Pot in Roanoke with, he was very influenced for this by this era of music, this sort of late 90s, early 2000s alternative or not quite alternative rock era. This was the kind of thing that influenced him. And there was a few songs that he used to play, but this was one that he played. And for the longest time, I assumed this song was a song that he wrote because he writes really good music. And I've played on his EP, which is up on Spotify, Kirk Farmer. I've checked that out because I play all the guitar on it if you want to. It's
Fair
on
enough.
all your streaming platforms. But like he wrote a lot of really good songs. And we used to play this, and then it's not terribly difficult to play. And he started it one day at a gig jam night that we were doing, and I just followed along. And by the third time I played it, I knew how to play it because there's not many chords in it. And I just assumed it was Kirk's song. And then I was at home one time, and I forget what we were listening to because this isn't something I would typically listen to outside of playing music. It came on, and I said, Hannah, I said, huh, this is Kirk's song. And she was, no, it's not. It's Three Doors Down. Where were you in 2000 and whatever?
And Hannah's like me. She grew up in Virginia in the 2000s and is very familiar with the love of a band like Three Doors Down. She's like, no, no, sir. That's so funny. That's why I was like, when I say it, Tim's gonna bring, because we talked about this song one time on an episode before, and I think we brought that up, and I don't know why it cracks me up every time. Tim didn't know Three Doors Down existed until recently. Well, not recently, till later in life, and then he didn't know the lead singer of Destiny. When you get off this podcast, I want you to go ask Hannah who is the lead singer of Destiny's Child.
She would probably know, but I said certainly the musical genre of three, four, five attractive people standing in a line singing pop songs is something that I was not into. And I'm not really into that now, to be honest. But certainly I was a lot more vocal about my disdain for this genre of music, probably in the late 90s and early 2000s. So the fact I didn't know that, you shouldn't be surprised at.
Do you think Hannah would be surprised to find out that you didn't know that? She'd just roll her eyes and be like, yeah, that seems right.
Yeah, she just said that's probably about right.
Maybe no eye roll, but she wouldn't be shocked. All right. Well, this was a funny story about Y2K. And I find this funny because this is the one food when I stopped eating meat that I would occasionally want so badly. And it is one of those foods that people either love or they hate. There's no middle ground with this food. So in October, my dad finished off all the Spam he had bought from October of this year, Tim. He had bought for Y2K. He bought tons and tons and tons and tons of cases of them because, Spam's supposed to have that huge, shelf life. It was invented during World War II to keep people alive. He bought so many cans that he finished eating it in October of this past year when he bought it because of the sales leading up to Y2K. And I love Spam. I'm just going to say it. Joy was a Spam lover. I grew up on it. My mom would fry it up in a frying pan like you would do like a breakfast sausage or something. Question, Tim. What is your thought? I know you don't eat meat now, but what were your thoughts on Spam and have you ever eaten it?
Yes, it's disgusting. My dad
Lies.
My dad used to make something called Spam fritters where he used to slice up Spam and then he'd put it in a batter and then the batter would get really crispy and then fry them. And he'd call them Spam fritters. And what happens is when you do that, they get so hot that the Spam and like the grease in it starts to melt a little bit. So it kind of melts in your mouth a little bit. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. He used to make these for lunch sometimes. And it was just,
Never used. See, we never did that. I mean, mine was just you just sliced it up, threw it on the pan, got hot, got that kind of crispiness to it and ate it like you would eat like a sausage or something. That's the way I eat. I've always eaten Spam. Is it healthy for you? No. But what's interesting about Spam, and for those who aren't familiar, is if you look up in Asian culture, there's a lot of Spam. A lot of people eat Spam in Asian culture and pork. And it comes from, during war, America and Kraft American cheese. We sent those products to them because they were shelf stable. They were, easy to, if somebody were starving, they had a lot of calories, right, Tim, and a lot of fatty nutrition you need in times of war. And they were specifically in Phantom, and like a Phantom, what's the word I'm looking for when you can't eat, Tim? Phantom, like a
famine.
Food. Famine. What? Well, I don't know why I couldn't say that. It became a ghost. A ghost was after them in Asia. Famine. That's the word I was looking for. And so that has actually proven to still remain very popular in Asian culture. They eat a lot more pork than even Americans do at this point. And they do stuff like with their ramen. They'll add like Kraft cheese into it, and people will find that weird because Kraft cheese is like the cheap cheese, even though sometimes if you're making a grilled cheese, you need that kind of cheap cheese. I'm just going to tell you. But yeah, that's an interesting fact about where that all comes from. But I am definitely team Spam. Sorry, Tim.
No, I don't. And there was other stuff that people eat around here, potted meat. It's like cat food.
I'm not big on potted meat. I can eat it, but I'm not. Have you ever eaten a Vienna sausage?
Yeah.
I'm not too big on it, but my dad loves Vienna sausages. He would get cans of them and just eat them like a snack. It's not that dissimilar though than a hot dog, really.
No, it's a very very similar thing. I mean, at the end of the day, all this stuff is mystery meat.
Here's a question for you, Tim. So you come from the land of my ancestors across the ocean, and you guys do like the black pudding stuff. Did you
Yes,
ever eat any of that, or were you ever a fan of it?
I've had black pudding. I'm not a super
Is
fan of
it
it.
irony? Does it taste like iron, kind of bloody, or does it? I don't know what it tastes like.
It has a bit of a meaty taste to it. It is no, it's just like
It was never
pig.
for you.
It's like
I
pig's
can't eat
blood or
it.
something. It's just like I don't want to eat that.
The smell alone just makes it where I could never, like, I tried to do like a fancy English breakfast when I was in England, because that's what they all want to serve you. And I
Hmm.
love some of it, like the beans and all that kind of stuff, great. But I couldn't do that.
Yeah, but
Sorry,
no.
guys. If you're into that, though, I mean, I've heard it's kind of healthier for you than some other meats. Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe they're
I,
just lying to us.
I think they're lying to you. It's not healthy for you in any stretch of the imagination.
That's how they're trying to get us to eat it. All right. Well, let's pick a song I know Tim will know. And it is a song that everyone will know. It was everywhere and it is still played at probably every major wedding in the world. This is Back to One by Brian McKnight.
I'm
Are
drawing
you
a blank. Joy.
What? Oh my God, you have to know. Oh, you've definitely heard this song. I'm gonna have to hold on. The starts back at one, one. You're like a Tim
Well, I'm not going to play it, but I'm going to pull it up on YouTube right now so I can hear it. Who's it by? Brian.
McKnight. It's that one. You're like a dream come true.
Back,
Two.
and it's called Back at One.
Uh-huh. This song was literally everywhere.
Okay,
It's,
so I've just seen what Brian McKnight looks like. I did not recognize him.
I
So
wouldn't
that's it.
recognize him either, but I've definitely heard this song.
All right. My YouTube has an ad blocker on it, so it's just taking a while to load.
Now I'm just staring at Tim very intently, like, what do you mean? Because it's one of those songs that they play at every wedding. I feel like you would have DJ'd this song at some point.
I'm listening.
Nothing?
I've never heard this before.
What? I'm starting to believe Tim lives under a rock, everybody, because there is no way this song was everywhere. And I swear, it's like when I was in high school, it would be the one they play for every. It's kind of like Casey and JoJo all my life, like that one that all the people would. Well, everybody who's listening, you guys have heard that one. You're like a dream come true. Two, just want to be with you. Three, girls plain to see that you're the. See, I haven't heard that song in years, and I still know the words. Oh my God, I
No.
really thought that would be one Tim would know. Okay, well, I give up. All right, he knows this one. You know Macy Gray, right?
Yes.
I try.
Yes, I remember this being in the charts. I went to stay with my friend at Durham University. This was playing, and I think I remember being at someone's house, and they had the CD of this on, and it was a big song at the time. So yes, I am
Okay,
familiar
so
with this
what he
one.
knows. I mean, I think Macy Gray is one of those people most people know because she's got such an iconic sound to her that has not been replicated ever again, really.
Yeah, no, she has a very unique voice. It's very very unique to her. You hear it and you know it. So is she still around, or did we lose Macy Gray recently?
I think she's still alive. I hope she is. Let's Google it. I hadn't heard that she passed. No, she's still alive. We are very
Good.
lucky, Tim.
I'm
She's still
pleased. I am
alive.
pleased to hear that.
I was like, I hope she didn't pass away. Now, one thing she has said about, I was watching a documentary on her, or like something, or YouTube video, something, and she says that she attributes some of her singing style and her raspy voice. She finds that she was really into Billie Holiday.
Okay, interesting.
So I've never really thought about that. I mean, I Try was definitely her biggest hit. And probably if you've never heard anything else from her, you would have heard that song. So if Tim didn't know that song, I was just going to throw my hand out the window and say, I'm done.
No, I did know that song. I actually own a CD copy of the album that it's from, and it is not in my core; it's in my overflow.
There you go. All right. This is the artist I know you definitely know. But actually, before we get into this one, I'm going to give you this interesting Y2K story that's on this thread. So it says, I was a firefighter and was working the night of Y2K. Right at midnight, all of our primary radio and CDA systems all failed. It was a huge system-wide failure, and just like everybody predicted would happen, we got dispatched by backup radios, and our dispatchers were writing everything down on pieces of paper. What sucked is my engine company had the call. Wait, hold on. What sucked is the company that had the first call of the year was an engine company, and we didn't get credit for it at all. I don't know why he had to get credit for it, but he said it all the confusion. When they pulled the calls into the computer after it was fixed, there was 2013 calls they had to manually enter. Enter. I don't know why he needed credit for that, but I guess it's a firefighter talk, Tim. I can't account for that. But he said we did get that first call and we solved it and we never got credit for it because of all the confusion. No. But I mean, that would be a horrible job to be in on Y2K for everything to shut down.
Oh, absolutely. It's terrible. I mean, I would imagine probably as prepared as the fire departments were, that was probably just a coincidence rather than a Y2K bug.
It's possible, but the comment underneath it says, I'm sure an IT manager was fired that night. I guarantee it. I mean, yeah, that's a pretty not one that I'd want to do. Okay, we're going to do this one because we've talked about this song, so I think Tim will know it. Well, actually, I'm going to do two. So you do know Celine Dion, yes? You've heard of her?
100% yes.
Do you remember when she had that album in the early 2000s? She had the song, That's Just the Way It Is? Mm-hmm. I love that song. That album, that is controversially, because everybody's got their, like, Celine Dion favorites. I thought that album was, and I think it was just like Celine, like that was the title album, or was That's the Way It Is, or something like that. That album was great. That song was great. That music video was great. She looked great in it. I feel like her early 2000s, we were talking about, artists who try to put music out over time. That entire album is probably my favorite from Celine Dion.
Okay.
I thought it was perfect pop amazingness. And she had quite a few songs on there that were good. Now, that song, it does say it reached the top 10 in almost every country, so I'm not surprised that Tim is very familiar with it. Australia, Belgium, Canada, Finland, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Italy, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Sweden, Switzerland, and the United States.
Yeah. I could see
so
that.
She made plenty of money off of it. I don't know why I'm defending it so much, but I feel like nobody ever talks about her early 2000 work. I love that song. And the video is great because that's the one where she's just like in that white outfit and it's her very simply singing. And I find early 2000 Celine Dion to be underrated. But maybe not if it was number one in every one of those countries and I'm just overthinking it. It's just weird though, because I feel like everybody just like thinks of the first thing when they think of Celine Dion is they go like straight to the song from Titanic or something.
Yeah, I mean when you've got such strong music as that, or strong song as that, should I say, that's where most people would gravitate to if you're not a super fan of Celine Dion.
Well, there you go. All right. Well, this is a song. This is a band that was definitely popular in England because they're British. Do you remember BB Mac, Tim?
No.
You've heard this song though. That one, okay, it's called Back Here. Oh my Lord, y'all. How does Tim like
BB Mac Back Here? All right.
Yes.
I'm gonna play this one. Let me play it.
Oh my Lord. I thought we talked about this song before. Nothing. You just blink, everybody. What?
Nothing.
This episode is 70% everybody in the audience is going, how does Tim not know this?
These people know me.
Nobody's surprised. Well, do you know the song Absolutely Story of a Girl by the band 9 Days? This is the story of a girl who drowned a river and drowned. Nothing.
I
didn't think you would either.
Joy, we're getting near the end of the episode. I think you need to end on a strong song that you know that I know.
I know. Okay, I got two I know for sure he'll know because we talked about this. With Arms Wide Open by Creed.
Yes. Check.
All the small things. Blink 182.
Oh, The three chord wonder, all the small things. I could play it right now. It was everywhere. Every cover band was playing it. Rough Justice played it. They played it at the Jam. I mean, it was all going on.
All right. We're just going to do a lightning round and see if Tim knows these. This one is, let's see here. My Love Is Your Love by Whitney Houston.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Till the Morning Comes by Smash Mouth.
No.
You know who Smash Mouth is,
yes,
though, right?
I do.
Okay, I'll give you that. Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears.
Yes, check.
Other Side, Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, but I don't like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, but yes.
I don't care for them either. A song I never want to hear again, and an artist I never want to hear again. This is Only God Knows Why by Kid Rock.
Yes, I'm familiar with this one.
Terrible, terrible, terrible song. All right, let's give him one more. Let's see if he knows this. Hold on. Try to find one that I think Tim will know because we can end on a positive note. Let's see here. Pink. You know the artist Pink, right?
Yes.
Oh no, this is most girls, but I don't think it's you definitely know the artist Everclear, right?
I've heard of Everclear, yes.
Have you heard of the song Wonderful?
No.
Okay, well we didn't end on a high note. Christina Aguilera?
I know who that
I
is.
turned to you. Okay. Okay, I'm convinced Tim loved it or rock in 2000s, but I enjoyed talking about it to myself. Do you remember what you were doing that 1999 to 2000 New Year's, Tim?
Yes, I was at a party at Emma, well, like the Paul, who we've had on the episode. His wife Emma's family had a year 2000 party, and I was at that party. And it was rather restrained. It's fair to say there were some older people there. It wasn't a ridiculously happening party, but they were nice people. And so they had the TV on, and there was something going on at the Millennium Dome. So we had, the year 2000 comes in, and there's lots of shaking of hands and hugging and stuff. And then a lot of people headed outside for some reason. And I went outside, and there was children on skateboards, and that was the first thing I saw in the new millennium.
I was still living at home because I was a child, and I remember watching the ball drop, and then my dad going, well, I guess the world didn't end, and then I went to bed. And that was the extent of what my heading into 2000 was. Well, I just thought this would be a funny way to end it, Tim. This guy said some neighborhood kid struck a transformer in his neighborhood, like an electric transformer, knocked out power for the whole block, and for 15 minutes, everybody in my neighborhood thought we were actually all going to die. Could you imagine being the guy? He said his parents actually started wailing because they thought Armageddon had begun. I could imagine being the kid who did that. Never would live. That would be like one of those stories you would never live down for the rest of your life. You're the one who knocked out the transformer in the neighborhood and everybody thought the world ended. With this being said, so glad I got to talk to myself about 7 songs and 3 to Tim. And we learned that Tim doesn't know Destiny's Child and Beyonce. Was there anything else you'd like to tell the people?
Just know who I am and know the music I like. And
I thought he would at least know some of these songs. And most of this episode's going to be Phil Reese in the car going, really, Tim? And then him going, no, that makes sense. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, well, yeah, be kind to everyone that you meet.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wow.
To remind me of another day to come.